A very good morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome, and welcome to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It's the first Monday of the month of April 2022. It's a fourth day, 04/04/2022. Conversations about sport will be there, and we will be talking about sport for peace. That's our first interview. We'll be speaking about emerging sport management, and the conversation about how Kisumu and Mombasa will get, activated such that there is peace throughout this time, and football is a platform. We shall also be talking about the Africa Youth Games. Kenya's 3x3 basketball team was selected, and that means that we are all ready to get practicing, and we shall be joined by Shemutieno, who's an under-16 3x3 basketball coach, and Terence Hill Musimbi and Emilia Munga, who are 3x3 basketballers, and the last one is lawn bowls. Yes, lawn bowling, and it's a very interesting sport. Musembi Mumo, who's the chair of the Kenya Bowling Association, is going to be talking to us about that. And also in the news, we shall be having the East African Legislative Assembly MP sensitization happening at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, and also election preparedness. This is going on at the Kenya School of Government. Kamche Medza is our reporter at that event. Our sign language interpreter is Ann Wangeshi within this hour, and also we shall be keeping up with you through Twitter. Our handle is at KBC Channel 1. So let's get straight to our first conversation, and this is all about using sport as a platform for peace. It's something that has come up all along anytime the conversations come up, and we're joined this morning by Belinda Rajema, who's a partnerships director at Emerging Sports Management. Hi, Belinda. Welcome to KBC Channel 1.
Thank you, Wahome. Thank you for having us today.
Yes, and also we're joined by Millicent Apondi, who's the head of sales at Emerging Sports Management. Yes. Good morning, Millicent.
Good morning, Mr. Wahome. Thank you.
All right. And also joining us, we shall be joined by Simon Smith, who's the CEO of Emerging Sports Management via Zoom from London. We know he's got to catch a train in just about 15 minutes or so, but he's going to give us a few minutes of his time so that we can get into a conversation with him. And Belinda, let me start with you. And this organization is established in 2018.
Yes.
What was the thinking behind Emerging Sports Management?
The thinking behind Emerging Sports Management was purely to focus on identifying local talent and nurturing it for international development, and also trying to identify international coaches to come in and train the local coaches that are here. But the most important thing was to identify sports for development, sports for youth development, engagements that we can also use sports to empower the women, to empower the youth, and also to bring development within the communities. And as it is right now, as we are working towards the elections, it is more about embracing peace. As you're all aware that on the 6th is going to be the International Day for Peace, Sports for Peace Development. And it's something we're trying to ensure that during this time for our general elections, this is something that is really embraced as we move forward.
And if we were to start from that point, listen, what have been some of the little stories about it that you know ESM has done in the country?
Currently, what we can say, we've been trying to merge up with the communities, especially in Kisumu, the women, the youth. And when we come to the slums area as well, we've been trying to put the youth together just to engage them in peace sports, because this is, what will I say, it's a peace ground, common ground, because everybody else loves sports. So when we bring the women, the people with disabilities, and the youth, that is what we've been working with.
Well, and also this is tied to some of the development goals of the United Nations. How are you working with bodies around that to ensure that there's progress as far as this is concerned?
So far as the development goals are concerned, you find that we've tried to partner with mainly organizations that identify things like education, as we are looking at. Last year, Manyata United, the year before, was actually the Chapa Dimba champions, and you'll find that we're trying to ensure that we embrace things, education. They have also started working with projects, photography, just to ensure that we have children and we have the youth geared into the right direction. So you'll find that so far as sustainable goals are concerned, we're trying to capture the education piece, we're trying to capture the women empowerment within the same area, and youth development. So those are the areas that we are trying to ensure that we cover so far as the SDGs are concerned.
Well, and that's Belinda Rajema, who is the partnerships director at Emerging Sports Management. And right now joining us from London is the CEO of Emerging Sports Management, Simon Smith. And Simon, a very good morning to you.
Good morning. Greetings from the UK and on a very wet and miserable Monday morning, but thank you for having me on.
Well, Simon, just to introduce Simon, he's been operations director at Liverpool Football Club. And Simon, let me come to you. The thinking behind, engaging in this sport for development work, where did it come from for you, and why the choice of Kenya?
Well, it's a really interesting question. I mean, I think just to put it into a bit of context, I've been involved back to Liverpool. Challenges the country has, the opportunities, but it is somebody to come in there and really try and harness some of the potential, try and help support some of the community initiatives. And really, Pastor Boniface has been my inspiration behind me wanting to be involved and to try and help Kenyan people at all levels, in all positions, reach their potential, of which clearly there is an outstanding amount there. So, yes, I have an inspirational figure, a man of the church, and he's been my driving force with Kenya.
And from having worked at the professional level, one of the things that has been mentioned by Belinda and Millicent is helping grow the talent. What are the lessons from the UK that you want to see brought down to Kenya such that young players, young boys, young girls can grow up to be footballers who can perform at the highest level?
There's lots of lessons, really, and I don't think necessarily the situation or the environment in UK naturally transfers to Kenya. I think what you have to bring is a level of expertise. You have to bring a level of expertise. I think that you need to pass on your experiences. You need to bring a real kind of focus and a passion, because I think whilst there's a lot of passion for sports there, it needs to materialise into excellence. So I'm hoping that from the UK, what I can bring is that level of experience, a level of qualification and training that I and people that I have within my organisation here can bring to bear. That can bring that organisation, that professional, from down to the administration. But ultimately, it's bringing expertise, and over a long period of time, that will help boys and girls in Kenya to reach their potential. So there isn't one thing. It's not a natural transfer. But I think if you can bring all of the things I just described in an abundance on a regular basis, because you can't just wave a magic wand and everybody who's got that potential becomes an elite sports person. But I think over a number of years and a period of time, you can get to that level. So I think it's
the youngsters who've had trials in Europe, what has been the feedback? What are things that, you know, you would pass a message back as we try to develop our youngsters, you know, in a different environment, so that and also picking up from some of the best practices that we've seen from the world's leading nations in football?
Incredible. I mean, there's been lots of lessons learned, and it is very different, of course, as you can imagine, coming from playing in the Premier League to trialing at a top European league. So you've got to start off with the obvious one, which I'm suffering today myself: the weather. You know, in the winter time, the temperature difference, humidity difference, diet, it was all very different. The intensity of training is very different. So I think the lessons that the guys have learned when they come to Europe to trial is that the level of intensity is far greater.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right, Simon. All right. Okay, Simon. Simon. Looks like we had your video had dropped. We were able to hear you, but looks like the video had dropped at that point. So Simon Smith is the CEO of Emerging Sports Management. Thank you very much for joining us this early morning from London, and we hope that you have a brighter day later. Thank you very much, and hope that when you're able to come to Kenya. All right, Simon, as a closing remark, I would like to ask, what should we look out for the rest of the year with Emerging Sports Management in Kenya, besides the activities that will be taking place over the next 10 or so days?
I didn't catch most of that, but the bits I caught is, I mean, I'm really excited about the Peace Tournament. I think one of the things that we've seen in a very challenging world that we live in is that sport can really give that focus I talked about earlier to young people, to take their minds and the temptations away, and that they can concentrate their mind on something positive like sport. So we've got a great tournament coming up. We've got some really good people who have got behind the tournament, from businesses to peace advocates, and I really hope that coming out of the next couple of weeks in Kenya that people will get ignited, ignite their passion for sports, that they will bring that some focus, and some team administrators will really be able to be inspired and to be able to inspire children from across the communities to take away some of the negatives that might be out there and really focus their energies on sport and football in particular. So I'm hoping there's going to be a wide-reaching community impact over the next couple of weeks. I really look forward to receiving the feedback, and you know, if we can inspire one child to take a different path, or ideally 100 children to take a different path, of course, then we'll have been successful. So it's all about the impact on the individuals in challenging environments, and hoping that we can make a small impact on their lives, of course.
Right. Thank you very much. Simon Smith is a former operations director at Liverpool and now CEO of Emerging Sports Management. Thank you for your time in London this morning. I know you've got to catch a train, so I wouldn't want you to miss that. All right. Thank you very much. Simon Smith, CEO of Emerging Sports Management. He was to be here but could not travel down, but he has a team that is going to be working on this. And we come back to Belinda Rajema, who's a partnerships director at Emerging Sports Management, and Millicent Apondi, who is head of sales. And from what Simon has said is, for example, when you work with Manyata youth who are based in Kisumu.
Yes.
What is the story they say when you engage with them, first from the football side?
From the football side, okay, let's start. Manyata United has started initiating this program the last 4 years as Pendo Moja tournament. That's how it has been running. And it was picked up right after, they picked up the tournament right after the post-election violence. So that's how it came up. And as we are all aware that the post-election violence, most of the time, or once there's any issue, okay, it has been happening and it keeps on picking up from Kisumu. That's where it's starting off, unfortunately. So we are trying to ensure that we embrace that piece. But basically now, from the sports view, we are trying to bring in the communities together, and that's how the story started. That's how we picked it up, and we've been working with Afrinov. Afrinov, that's Africa Center for Nonviolence, and they have been championing the peace talks around Manyata area, and they've been coming, and they're going to be actually partnering with us in the workshop to speak about the agenda, peace agenda. So they'll be handling the workshop on that. They've been doing that for quite some time.
The football side of it, what have they said? Because you mentioned they won the Chapa Dimba tournament.
Yes. Yes, they did, and we have, they've won the Chapa Dimba tournament, and we've been running quite a number of programs there with them. And the programs they've been running, and mainly apart from the Chapa Dimba, we've been running quite a number of other sports around football. We've got the youth, they had a tournament early this week, and we've got quite a number of tournaments, other team members who have confirmed they will be attending. We have the police in Kisumu that will be coming in. We have the
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we have the border team that is also coming on board, and we have apart from the Manyata Starlets, ladies are going to be there as well. We have also there's quite a number of teams that have confirmed they will be there. Yes, so that's the community team. So far as football is concerned, they're well organized, and the community is really trying to embrace the peace tournament.
And when people get involved in sport, Millicent, something happens. I've seen it happen in prisons. I have seen it happen, where there's young children. What's the community response? What are the stories that they give? Because somehow people end up, opening up, giving unsolicited information.
Actually, as I said before, sports is common ground for everyone to come together. We're talking about women, we're talking about youth, people with disability, and whenever they play sports, they engage with one another. That's when somebody's character come in and said, okay, we're having conflict between me and you, but let's talk about peace now. We are here, let's have fun, and let's continue doing this on a day-to-day basis. So according to what we're trying to champion as the sports development and peace in Manyata, is embracing sports in terms of community development, people coming together and just saying, yes, here we are, let's have fun and join hands. When our team wins, we praise one another. When it doesn't win, let's look for another time all together and find out our weaknesses and embrace it together. Yes.
As community.
Yeah, you wanted to weigh in on that?
Yes. Basically, you see, when we come together, so far as sports is concerned, you find that in our schools right now, you find children from Kisumu are in schools in Nairobi. Children from Nairobi are going to school there. So sports is all about bringing
the national secondary school system as it is now.
As it is right now. So basically, we're trying to bring sports to bring people together, because we are there, but we're from different communities altogether. So we are one, and that is the most important thing right now, because as we're moving towards the elections, what is it all about? We may not talk about it, the tension may be there, it may not be there, but on the ground, the communities feel it. So when we bring in the sports aspect, we're trying to bring everybody together. You may be from, people have started calling us from different areas, from Meru, people have started calling us from, they called us yesterday from Kajiado. Everybody wants to come in and join hands. So it will be quite an impressive tournament. It's a pace to take at this time.
When you engage these institutions that talk about peace, that want to use sport as the platform, for example in Kisumu, what are the key theme areas that are brought out?
The key theme areas that are brought up, number one, as we saw last time, we have gender violence. It was quite pronounced during the first post-election violence that we had. And we are also talking about youth are being used as a tool to actually engage in violence at this time. So we try to ensure that we engage the youth more, because you find due to unemployment, they get people tap into them very fast for easy money. So at this time, we try to, the main topics is we're talking about the youth and how to get them, their minds channeled correctly, and trying to talk more about gender violence. Why was it so pronounced at this time? So that is one of the areas that we saw was quite pronounced the last time.
Millicent, let me come to you. How do you then pitch this whole concept to me so that I can buy it?
Let me just say, it's all about passion. When you have passion in your heart, you like, I am passioning for peace. And at the end of the day, we want our women, our children, our society, everyone to know it's not all about politics. Let's get to the field and have fun, and at the end of the day, see where it takes us to. And the rest, we'll say, is it comes all along.
Also, sorry to tap in. Also, how we pitch it is that we have like the workshop that is going to be taking place. So you find that quite a number of institutions would want to tap into the borders, would want to tap into the Kenya Police Service, would want to tap into these groups that are coming together, the coaches that are participating. They want to get in there and also have a word with them. So you find so many, we have one of our partners who's coming on board, KCB Bank. They would also want to share more about their products, their community products that they have at this particular time. So we try to ensure that we have partners that also want to engage with the audience that is at that level. Yes.
And let's talk about also Mombasa County is another place. How was Mombasa selected?
Actually, Mombasa is our newest project into this. We will be working with, we're actually working with Mombasa Elite. Mombasa Elite was formerly Modern Coast, and it started off as Magongo FC, which was a community-based kind of program. The purpose was basically to ensure that the youth there don't engage into basically what is happening in Mombasa. We have got a lot of drug influence, and the community, we wanted to bring the community together at that point in time. So you find that Magongo FC, now that is moved from Magongo to Modern Coast, now that it is rebranded to Mombasa Elite, and we've been playing the NSL, and it has been quite impressive. We're bringing the communities together. We're bringing actually youth from Mombasa and other areas as well. They're coming together to join hands, and that is something that I admired about the project, because they have Mombasa at itself and also picking around the other communities as well. So it's bringing quite a nice brand out there, and they have a program that is running for youth in Mombasa that is Changamwe. That's where we do our practices, Changamwe Kenya Petroleum Refineries grounds.
That's
where you find us.
That is Kipevu.
Yes.
At the refinery.
At the refinery, yes. Yeah.
And Millicent, when you interact with these young children, when you go out there, what are the stories they tell?
They tell us they're very happy that we're engaging them to create a ground where it's neutral. They'll be able to come here and, have fun and also engage with one another. Yes.
Now let's talk about the format, the peace tournaments. How do you organize them? Putting together the tournament. Putting together the tournament, we have one of our very own founder on the ground when it comes to Kisumu. That's Manyata United. We are working with the Manyata Youth Resource Center. So they do the mobilization. They've been doing this for the last 4 years, and for the last 4 years they've called it Pendo Moja Peace Tournament, and that's what has been running at the moment. So they come together. We already have teams that are already pre-booked. They know
every year they are booked in for that tournament. So it becomes very, because of the consistency that has been there, it becomes very easy to actually bring them all together. This time we are coming in as emerging sports management to help them run and identify the corporate partners to come in and ensure that the project is also it's well recognized within all counties.
About how many teams and the grounds that are used?
We're actually going to use Moi Stadium this time, and we have a total of 14 teams. That's usually the trend, but this time we have quite a number that are still yet to confirm. So far we have 8 teams that have confirmed, and the running on the ground, the logistics are run by Manyata United. That's Anthony Obala. Yes, Manyata United. In Mombasa Elite, our one and very own legend, that is Charles Okwemba, is the one running the program there.
Well, Charles Okwemba played for AFC Leopards, and he's a household name.
Yes.
And when you're trying to engage, for example, somebody who's got the stature of, Okwemba, and he goes down there, does all this community work, what do they say from their experiences, having played and now getting into coaching and community mobilization?
I would say Charles is very passionate about what he does, and working with him for the last 4 months, I've actually identified the passion that he has for sports and youth development.
Actually, for football, football is his life.
Football is his life, yeah, that's Charles for you. So he's been very passionate, and as you can see how the team is performing, the performance has been quite consistent. And at the moment, we are trying to get back there where we are supposed to be. Yes, he's very passionate about the development of the program, and I'm happy to work with the team. Yeah.
Millicent, let me come to you and the partners that you're working with. See, there's Modern Coast are involved. You've got AMREF, you've got them. How does each of these institutions come, and when you hold the conversations with them, how do they want their to impact the society? How do they want their value back?
Most of them work in form of a CSR. They want to give back to the community. So, for example, if you get like the KCB that was coming on board, they're going to provide us with the footballs. They're going to kit most of the teams, so that when they go out there, the team will be able to engage with the banks, or even most of who else is coming to join us?
Yeah,
some of them have not confirmed yet.
Yes, some of them have not confirmed yet. But going back to AMREF, what they do, AMREF Flying Doctors, we've partnered with them. We are going to be showcasing most of their products. Some of them being the services that they offer, the evacuation services that they offer. We have Modern Coast that have partnered with Mombasa Elite for the longest time, and what they do, they come in to partner with in terms of they are our transport partners, so they offer transport for Mombasa Elite anytime we have the games coming and going, so they support the program in that way. And we have sports tourism. What sports tourism will be doing, they are driving the agenda for COVID as it is till pronoun, and they will be having the vaccines. We've partnered with the Kisumu County as well. They will be offering the grounds for us at that particular time, and the tourism, sports tourism are coming in also to help with the vaccines. At the moment, yeah, that is still a drive that is happening. COVID vaccine, it's a drive that we are pushing. Yes.
And Millicent, when you are one of the people you've got to engage at the county governments, how do they take this up? What support do they offer to you? I know getting a stadium is one. We know they can be used for other things, but what else do they offer?
Like mainly we were speaking with one of the Condele Ward initiative programs. They're kind of trying to help us bring in a team on just to be there to facilitate and find out that there'll be no clashes happening during these workshops that we're going to go on the ground. And they also want to drive the mission, which Belinda was trying to say, still embrace the COVID awareness, and there'll be the injections going on and the jabs. Yes.
And Millicent, what does, for example, if you go down to Magongo Ward, what are they looking for I mean, if you go down to Changamwe, what are they looking for when working together with the Mombasa County government?
So far as sports is concerned and the youth development is concerned, there's a lot of unemployment there right now, and everyone is trying to find a way of keeping their children engaged at this particular point in time. So far as youth development is concerned, we are trying our very best to ensure that we tap in with the right partners, we get the right partners to support the program that is ongoing, be it the girls program, be it the youth program, because we have started our youth program, our under 11s, our junior team program recently, and it is quite informative. Basically, we are trying just to ensure that the youth have a path, a growth path, so far as youth development is concerned.
How does that work? Because it's never been properly structured in Kenya. How do you do it so that it's continuous and it is, something that people can look out for 7-8 years ahead?
It's never structured, but what I've identified that Mombasa Elite is trying to do, we've partnered with quite a number of high schools. Will not mention them here, but they've partnered with quite a number.
No, there's nothing wrong. I mean, if it's legitimate, you can mention the schools.
Okay, we partnered with St. Anthony's School in Kitale, and that's our very first merger, and we're trying to ensure that there's a path for the youth. Basically, we're playing in the NSL. We have an academy that has also been launched recently, youth junior academy. So there is that path that when the child comes in for the training, there's a probability of them moving to our national team, that is Mombasa Elite, that is playing right now in the national team.
In National League, in National Super League.
National Super League. And we also have the other opportunities coming in. We have international opportunities. There will be there's a possibility of us having an event, an international event also for our youth as well. And basically that is something that we are trying to identify, also partnering with different organizations to see if some can get internships into not only other than football. We know not everybody will get through with football. So we are trying to have other areas whereby we bring in different partners that can get them in terms of internship, get them in terms of schools. We also have scholarships for some of them. And that is what we're trying to ensure, that education is also captured in terms of what we're doing.
Putting a child through school is a cost, and we know there's I grew up in an era where if you in some schools basically poached students from other schools and kept them there, gave them gave them a place to stay and play football.
Yes.
How are you working, Millicent, with schools to ensure that it's something that can grow? Schools are the closest we have to a development center for football.
Exactly, Mr. Wahome, I get you that. In terms of initiating sports in schools, that's one thing we will really want to engage most of the schools, especially in the rural urban areas, whereby you get children, especially like in areas like Kilifi, there's a high rate of unwanted school pregnancies and girls leaving school because they are pregnant very early. We try to bring in the head teachers and talk to them. Look here, these girls are very idle. Let's engage them in things like sports. Let's see how they go. It's not necessarily soccer. Let them do netball. Let them do volleyball. Like when I was growing up, that was the thing. You'll do sports and make it fun until when you go out and play and they say, this is what this girl can do better. Let's try and talk more to the headmistresses, to the headmasters, the principals, and let them know that it's important for kids to engage in sports so that we avoid unnecessary pressure, peer pressure, these post-election violences through sports.
And by the way, it's holiday time.
Yes.
How then do you keep this going, Millicent? Because you'll talk, I know right now every school, secondary school teacher is busy with marking of their KCSE or trying to make sure the school is in order for the reopening in a couple of months. How do you keep them going?
We engage them in the social media via trying to win them to get into the sports ground where we have a partnership.
Yes, and also another thing we did, Wahome, last year, we had a program, Emerging Sports Management had a project, and the project was more on The project was more on, we had a summer camp actually that took place, and we had to bring in a Sampdoria Italian team. The Italian coaches came in from Sampdoria. We had a summer camp, and it was quite a good event, let me say so. So we are trying to bring in and engage the youth into this kind of programs. Especially, we have the summer camp programs running. We partner with the academies. We try to bring in expertise in there, basically to see how best we can keep the youth engaged at this point in time.
Well, I can see. I mean, someone is UK based, Sampdoria. How did then, for example, did you get to engage the Serie A side?
Basically, what happened is that it was what Emerging Stars does. Basically, we also do project managements for sports, and that was a project that we managed for one of the academies here in Nairobi, in Kenya. The academy is also based in Kisumu, so I'll give them the credit. So that's how we interacted with the Sampdoria team for the first time, and I noticed that there's need for that kind of interaction for our children, especially to try and bring them into the international standards kind of sports. We also had a project with emerging sports management at the very beginning, and that's where Simon came in, and we had an international director, sports director, coming in from England. And right now on our lineup, we have got quite a number of other activities, but basically, so far as keeping the youth engaged is one of our major focus during the school holidays. So we'll be having quite a number of programs running for the youth during the holidays.
Millicent, it's a whole series of activities between now, or I can say for the next 2 weeks or so. What does that calendar look like? If you start with the engagement that you'd like to do, so that you can get more partners coming in, and then the Kisumu events and the Mombasa events.
Basically, how we have programmed that, I'll take it from Millicent.
Okay.
Yeah, basically because we're the operations planning team. Yeah, so basically how we plan it, Millie is just selling. So we're operation and planning. So what happens is that we had a breakfast event that was scheduled, and this is going to take place in, we have a confirmed place in Manyata. We are moving everything to Kisumu right now because that's where the focus is. So at the moment we have the breakfast event that will be at Manyata area. We have one of the hotels that is to confirm where we're going to be having the breakfast for the stakeholders. And after that we'll be having, that is on the 6th basically, because the International Day for Peace is on the 6th. So we are trying to celebrate and bring the stakeholders together. And number 2, we are going to have a one-day workshop right before the tournament, and just to bring the coaches, the participants together and have the workshop and talk about the importance of embracing peace. And this will be chaired by the AfriNov, Africa Center for Nonviolence. They will be taking that on. Then after that, there's the Mombasa event is yet to be confirmed, and we are actually trying to ensure that we have it right before the children, the youth go back to school.
Nairobi, how would I say it? Nairobi is another place.
Yes.
How do you engage people here in Nairobi? I like that you're going out there to the places that are outside of the capital.
Yes.
What about this town of ours?
Nairobi actually was one of our major areas that we had looked into as well. But you'll find that Nairobi is more of our youth program. Basically, most of our summer camps, we have most of our summer camps in Nairobi. So on this particular one, we were trying to move out and reach to the main youth, who are actually the ones we're trying to target for this event, because this event is purely focusing on the seniors. And as much as we would want the seniors to participate, we also want to sell the idea that our youth, the youth that is coming up, our generation, not after us, the generation after us, what are we trying to embrace? What are we trying to educate them on? So we are trying to ensure that Nairobi is not is also captured, but we have more. Nairobi, we have more of the summer camps centrally focusing on Nairobi.
When's the summer camp?
The summer camp this time we did, but we are going to have one in December.
In December.
We are going to have one in December.
Reaching out to girls, for example, in other parts of the country, Millicent, what needs to be done so that it is understood that sport is integral and that there are opportunities that will arise, not just athletics, volleyball, as it is in the country at the moment, but even through football. Interesting enough, I always count that the Harambee Starlets outperform the Harambee Stars. The records are there to show later.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I was giving you the option in regards to Kilifi. Yeah, when we're going to do this tournament, we have a few girls teams that are coming up. So some of the corporates are
maybe around moving the goalposts.
Yes.
In that.
Exactly. So when they come over on board to play the football, soccer, we also partner with other companies to be able to offer them, like with the sanitary towels during that time also as well. And also not forgetting that sometimes that, especially here in Nairobi, there are some youth, especially women or girls, rather what we're talking about, they engage in very many extracurricular activities. So we're coming up with summer camps for them just to engage them and teach them when ladies grow up, this is how they're supposed to engage themselves through sports. We're talking about hockey, we're talking about soccer, there's netball, which people have already forgotten about. Yes.
Actually, netball is growing and quite interesting, I have to say, and it's going all across.
Yes.
From your side, which other sports would you try pick up depending on where a locality you go to? If you go to Iten, you'll have to talk athletics.
To talk athletics, yeah.
And if you go to where I come from, you'll have to speak volleyball.
Yes, yeah. We are looking at basketball, and yes, we are also trying to identify how we can move into netball and encourage more girls to come in. But soccer is picking out very fast in terms of the girls as well. And we are looking at basketball, netball, volleyball, as you've said. Yes, and those are the areas we are actually looking at. And talk about the women, we have the Digital Women League that is taking place always in Machakos, Kamba area. That is also one of our newest projects that is coming up. It's only women's team.
That has interested me. Explain, tell me about that Digital Women's League.
Yeah, there's a Digital Women's League that runs in Kamba, Ukambani, Machakos County. So that is also one of our projects that we're trying to initiate so far as women are concerned.
How does it work, given the name Digital?
Digital. Basically, how it works is that we're trying to ensure that we digitize the youth, the programs that are running. We partner with people like the foundations that are geared towards, we're talking about Microsoft, we're trying to look at Oracle to come in, we're trying to look at Cisco to come in. Those are the big brands that we're trying to work with at the mashinani level on this kind of programs.
Millicent, your work is basically to get the money to run such an institution. What are the conversations that you always reach out to that somebody would use, and how they can get to you so that you're able to make sure that all her programs run? Because I would know that over the last 2 years, the pandemic hit sports.
Yes, it
and
did.
Entertainment hard. Budgets meant for sport were the first to go.
Yes, exactly. I'm telling you, it was a tough time. Yeah.
So how are you getting back to this?
This one, let me take it briefly to Belinda, and then I'll wrap it up, because she's the one who's mainly.
So basically, yes, we were really attacked in terms of sports budgets being cut during the COVID time, and it was really a hard hit. So basically what we are trying to ensure, the conversations that we have right now, like, yes, people are telling us their budgets, they don't have the budget right now, maybe next time. So we're trying to encourage our partners, yes, the budget may not be there, but let's try and do like a CSR program whereby you donate things like kits, be it the balls. I'm sure this is something that is within your budget. And you'll find that most of the time, there's a budget always for marketing. And sports is also an area whereby if you utilize it well, it can really market your brand outside there. So why not take advantage of that as well? Use sports to position your brand. And at this time, we're talking to partners to use sports to position their brand as advocates for peace. So that is also, that's not just a sports budget, that's also a marketing budget to use a different channel to position your brand out there.
All
Yes.
Right. Millicent.
Back to me. As I wrap it,
Okay.
as we wrap it up, the way she has said, it's all about the initiative of the CSR departments in every corporate development, how will I say, organizations. And then what we're trying to do is bring out this pitch all about what do you see in this? What do you see in a long term? Whenever I go out to pitch about sports or about any passion I have, I will ask you, you see it in a long term. Don't see it at a short term, like, oh, this one, I don't have this budget right now. And yet, in essence, you always have a budget for team building. So I'd rather see it in terms of a team building when I'm trying to pitch sports. So that's how I've been able to bring in the corporate.
Oh, create that subliminal messaging that comes through. Anytime that, because I've been sponsored by this institution,
Yes.
when I think of a product around that, they're the first to come.
They're the first to come.
Now, finally, as you close, Belinda,
Yes.
to the people of Kisumu, what? Just a reminder where they will find you.
Yeah.
If for the football, they are very football mad.
Yes.
If they're going to pay anything at the gates, things like that.
Yeah. Actually, yes. Considering that we're trying to bring the teams and fundraise for them, we will be at the Moi Stadium from the 11th. That's where you'll find us.
That's a week from now.
That's a week from now. We are actually, our numbers are there on our posters currently. We are based at Delta Towers, Westlands, 13th floor. That's where you can find me. And for our sponsors, we are trying to reach out to collaborating. We want to collaborate with institutions that would want to partner us with this Peace Initiative tournament. We want to position those organizations that want to position their brands and use peace as the agenda. You can actually reach us on our email addresses are there, our Facebook, Emerging Sports Management, that is actually running.
All right.
Yes.
And Millicent, to the people across the country, how the message for them to embrace sport as a platform for social development?
And the message I'd like to have for the people across the country is we are very delighted to bring this sports event on board, and we'd like everyone to get engaged so that we do not get wayward with our feelings in terms of after our elections and everything.
Yeah.
We should all come on common ground, and sports is one of the real passions in life whereby people will just come and play and forget all about our problems. Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Belinda Rajema. She is the head of partnerships at Emerging Sports Management, and we have got Millicent Apondi, who's the head of sales at the same institution. And earlier we had their CEO Simon Smith joining us from the United Kingdom, telling us about how they're working on the football side, using this platform, sport as a platform for peace and social change. And remember that on Wednesday it's the International Day for Sport for Peace and Development. It's one of the stories that we will be following. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
We'll take a short break, and when we come back, let's talk about youngsters in 3x3 basketball, a sport that's basically meant for the street. It's meant to be explosive and fast. Let's find out how the Kenya Basketball Federation is working around that.
Huh?